Greetings, greetings, greetings. Now that you tapped in, gratitude for tapping in with it. Y'all like that? Let me stop. But greetings, greetings, greetings. Don't come for me, y'all. I know I need to be more consistent. Your girl been missing in action. But, new energy, new beginnings, new routines, new content, a lot of new ideas, a lot of new downloads, a lot of messages that I have channeled that I need to share with everybody. So definitely stay tuned for more content and seeing me more often. But this video is going to be part one. I think I'm gonna do a 3-part series, but it's gonna be part one to activating your gifts and abilities. So again, gratitude for tapping in, gratitude for your patience. So we're just going to go ahead and dive into it. And if you see me looking off to the side, I'm looking at my notes, trying to stay organized with everything that I'm going to be saying. So definitely listen closely to everything that I'm going to say, but definitely, apply it to your life, apply it to activating your gifts, apply it to your spiritual journey, apply it to you doing work internally if you want to learn how to activate your gifts, and if you are interested in how exactly to get to that point of your gifts being activated. So the first thing that I kind of want to get into is how I started my spiritual journey. What exactly were the thoughts that were running through my mind that eventually led me into looking into spirituality deeper and getting to that point of activating my gifts. So pretty much, if you haven't seen my very first video on my channel, which is me explaining my spiritual journey, how I ended up coming into spirituality, how I ended up activating my gifts, it started off with me being in a really dark place mentally. And basically, I was in the midst of going through depression, but also attempted back in 2019, and that kind of sparked something internally that pushed me to finding a way to connecting with source in a different way. And as I said, I was in a dark place, but being in that dark place, literally, I was in a space of calling out to God and that figure that we've been conditioned to idolize and look up to. I was so fed up with the feelings that I was feeling, trying to figure out how to overcome my depression, trying to figure out how to change my perspective in my life to the point to where I remember vividly, I was literally calling out to that figure, God, and was pretty much begging for a response. And the mind space that I was in then was, and a lot of people might see this as childlike, whatever, but I was just in a space of, okay, I'm calling out to this figure that I was conditioned to call out to, that I was conditioned to think is supposed to show up in my life and make a change, begging and pleading literally out loud, crying, wailing, like, please show up, and not understanding why I wasn't getting answers or why I wasn't like getting a response, because in my mind, even as a child, I always felt in my soul like the creator, source, mystical beings, or however you want to put it, they really do exist. Like, I understand, okay, people are saying, yes, that figure exists. Yes, call out to it if you need assistance. But I just was at a point to where I wasn't understanding why I wasn't getting an answer back. Like, knock, 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 hello, who's there? Um, so it led me to do more digging. It led me to asking questions that I never asked before, internally, externally. Um, it led me to wanting to find answers like, why am I not hearing anything? I'm calling out to this being, I'm asking for assistance, nothing is changing. I know it's something higher than the physical. Like, the spiritual realm is, it's in my grasp where I should be able to connect. I should be able to get some type of sign, some type of messages. And I just wasn't getting that. The more and more I was calling out to God. Um, so, and I really don't even want to use God because we should see ourselves as gods and goddesses. But Jesus, Jesus, I'll say that. Um, and sorry, I don't subscribe to that anymore. So I'm not saying that name or nothing like that. Jesus. Um, so I just really wasn't understanding in my mind, like, why isn't this man talking back to me? Like, what is going on? I'm sitting here crying and pleading and asking for assistance, and I'm not getting anything. But as I said, that led me to do more digging, led me to asking questions that a lot of us, we were told since kids, oh, don't question Jesus and God, don't question this, don't question that. Just go along with the programming is what they should have just, went ahead and said. But as I got older and started thinking for myself and stepping outside of my comfort zone, those questions that wanted to connect to source so bad, it led me into spirituality. Um, so the first point that I wanted to make is open your mind, step outside of your comfort zone. If you want to activate your gifts, the first thing that you have to do is literally step out of your comfort zone, step out of the earthly programming that you've been taught since birth. Um, the programming that basically the whole population has been conditioned to stay within. Um, you're not ever gonna get to the point of activating your gifts or changing your perspective or seeing the power of spirit unless you change your perspective and open your mind. And when I say open your mind, I mean don't close your mind off to spirituality because of what you heard from other people or what you think it may be. You gotta open your mind and think for yourself and step outside of your comfort zone of what you've been programmed to do to get to the next steps of activating your gift. So something that I did personally, and let me say this as well, everybody's spiritual journey is going to be different. Um, how I went about things and how things work for me, it may not work for you, but still take heed in the things that I'm saying, because it'll definitely resonate and it will assist you with activating your gifts in some type of way. So, it was very hard, doing research and finding out things that literally blew my mind, because I didn't know anything about spirituality. I didn't know anything outside of religion. So, doing my own research and looking for answers and diving deep into um, different things that was under the umbrella of spirituality, it definitely took me taking that first step of opening my mind and stepping outside of my comfort zone of staying within religion and keeping my mind stuck in that programming. You can't be afraid. You have to be confident. Honestly, it's nothing to be afraid of. And that was my next point. Releasing expectations, earthly programming. You gotta release the expectations of how you think it's gonna be. You gotta release expectations of what's been put out here by other people, or certain labels that's been put on spirituality by those around you, or even just anybody. You gotta listen to your own intuition. You gotta follow your soul. You literally gotta trust yourself and what you receive through your intuition above all, so that you can have your own perspective on what spirituality is and how it could change your life. Um, so if you think spirituality is something that you should be afraid of, if you think that is something wrong, go digging for yourself. Like, don't just go along with what you've heard from other people and what you think it is. You really have to do extensive research and look into things deeply on your own. And I mean, like, studying quantum physics, studying like from different leaders. One example, Bobby Hemmett. I listen to him over and over again. Even Quatita Dean, I share her videos all the time. You've heard me mention her many times. I've learned so much from her, but you gotta let spirit guide you. You gotta listen to your intuition. You definitely, not saying, absorb information from anybody, because a lot of people just follow the trendy side of spirituality and still be talking about Jesus and God and still tied into religion. You really gotta detach yourself from the programming, detach yourself from everything that you've absorbed and learned all your life, and start a clean slate. So a part of opening your mind and releasing expectations, stepping outside of your comfort zone, like, completely reprogram yourself. That's exactly what you're going to be doing. And it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy, because it definitely took me time to do research and to change the way that I was speaking, change the way that I was approaching source, change the way that I was thinking in regards to things outside of religion. Because believe me, I have not been spiritual all my life. I wish I would have started my spiritual journey a long time ago. Woof. But, being brought up in a religious family, grandmama was heavily in the Bible, would slap me with a Bible right now if she could. Father, ordained minister, went to church every goddamn Sunday, listened to church music all the time, riding in the car. I mean, it was a lot of deprogramming that I had to do, a lot of reprogramming that I had to do within myself. But it's possible if you believe in the strength that you have to reprogram yourself and actually go into your journey with intention of learning and not judgment. You'll be surprised at how quick you activate your gifts, but also how quick spirit shows up and shows out. But another note that I want to mention, or something else that I want to mention, actually take heed in what you learn and apply it to your life. And I can't stress research enough. I can't stress it enough. I mean, I was watching videos, reading articles, days, for months, for years. Still is. Like, it's still a lot of learning that I have to do. And it's still so much. The rabbit hole goes so deep. Like, it's so much research to be done. It's so much that's been hidden from us that we have to go looking for, honestly. And yes, you can listen to other spiritual leaders and light workers, but honestly, you got to do the work on your own. If you're just sitting and waiting for the answers to come to you, you're just going to be at a point of stagnation within your spiritual journey. So definitely take the time to take yourself outside of your comfort zone. If you have questions, look for the answer. Don't wait for the answer to come to you. If it's something that you're curious about, look into it, research. If it's something that you don't understand, Google is your friend, YouTube University, okay? Books, articles, all of that. You gotta dive deep. But as you learn things, actually apply it to your life. And for example, like, the main thing that I realized when I was explaining like what pushed me into my spiritual journey and how I was pleading and calling out to Jesus, as I started getting deeper into my spirituality, I started to learn that words have power. So even just changing up the way that you approach spirit, changing Jesus to source, or changing Jesus to creator, when you're speaking to your spiritual protection and when you want to connect to source, you gotta let go of certain words. You gotta let go of your approach to it, because everything holds energy and everything has a frequency to it. But if you keep yourself at a stagnant frequency, a low frequency, staying within the programming, you're not gonna see growth. You're not gonna see change. But that's just an example of applying it to your life. But something else that I learned as well, something that I speak heavily about, and I speak so heavily about shadow work because healing is the main thing that helped me activate my gifts as well. And I don't mean just, oh, okay, I'm a just let it go. This happened to me, but I'm just dust it off my shoulder. No, that's not healing. That's not shadow work. You actually have to take the time, go within self, do certain physical, spiritual activities like journaling and meditating and connecting with your shadow self to really get to a place of healing. But everything that you learn, don't Don't just sit and listen, but apply it to your life. Don't just, read certain things and absorb certain things so that you feel like, oh, I know it all, and don't get deep in your ego like you know it all either. Like, even with the growth that I've made and how far I've come in my journey and what I'm capable of doing at this point, I tell my clients, I tell people that I'm connected to, I tell people that even look up to me, you're a reflection of me, and I'm learning and growing with you. So, you know that it's always more to learn. It's so much more to learn. The rabbit hole, it just go deeper and deeper. But don't stop at a certain point in your research, because I feel like, especially a lot of these trendy spiritualists and mediums and tarot readers, like, it's so agitating to see people confused and they don't realize that they confused. How are you within your spiritual journey, a light worker doing this work, and you've stopped at a certain point doing research? If you still tied to religion in some type of way, you're not gonna grow and expand the way that you need to within your spiritual journey. You have to completely detach from religion, completely detach from what's been taught to you, completely detach from this programming that they want us to just go along with. It's a lot of things that's been hidden from us. They don't want us to know our power. And honestly, we're giving so much power to this figure, Jesus, to the point to where we think that's where all the power is. We think we don't even hold any power. So, with everything that I've said, please take heed in it and apply it to your life. But definitely know that with each video of the series, we're going to get more in depth. I don't think I need to go back over shadow work for part 2. So part 2, I'm going to mention it briefly, but we're going to get deep into certain things that you can do to activate your gifts, mainly meditation. And we're going to talk a lot about chakras and how to bring yourself to a high frequency to connect with spirit, to be able to receive downloads, to be able to open up your gifts and activate your gifts. But gratitude for listening. I love you guys. Have a great night. Have a blissful night. And I'll talk to y'all soon.